Chris Scouser here with
Matt Howell. And on this all-new, all-different version of the first run, we have some new theme song music, right? By courtesy of
buddy.
Jamal Malachi Ford Bay. Thank you, Jamal. We appreciate it. It sounds awesome. And this week, well, we're going to give you a little bit of one of the great questions. Black Phone 2. Why? And we're going to talk about it some more. That's all we have for you scheduled. But we'll obviously have a little chat, about movies, whatever else. Pat it out to at least give you 20 minutes of entertainment for your drive into work. And, yeah, I think it'll be a good one, right? Right. Yeah.
I'm confident.
I'm good. Yeah. We're pretty slick at this point, Chris. Come on. Professionals.
Yeah, buddy.
Give us a little bit of Black Phone 2, please.
Okay.
Hello, Finney. What do you want? It took me a long time, but now I remember. You're dead. Oh, Finney. You of all people know that dead is just a word. Tell me why you're here. Why do you think I'm here?
Matt, why are we here?
Why do you think we're here?
Because Black Phone, the original film, cost about $15-20 million to make, and it made like 140. That, folks, is why we're here. 1618, 161. Excuse me. 1618 bills pulled in 161, which is pretty damn good. That is a hell of a return for Universal Pictures and Blumhouse. So I'm not surprised they're like, Derrick's in Cargill. Give us a little more of that sweetness.
And how did this one do? How much did this one cost?
That's a great question, Matt. So let's check back in here on the numbers, because that's what people care about, not really about talent or quality. It's all about money. Budget was $30 million on this one. We're pulling in right now $45.
Okay.
So we've made back our budget. I'm sure I can't imagine the promotional budget on this was too steep.
Right.
So I think we're probably in the green.
Sure.
Or in the black.
Sure.
Is that what it is?
Black,
in the black.
Yeah.
You're in the black.
Yeah.
So I think we're good. You throw in, it'll have some leg to it, especially with Halloween around the corner, video sales, rentals, and all that stuff. I don't think we're going to reach the lofty heights of $161 million. But, alas, regardless, here we are. So should I tell people at home or on the road, maybe on the treadmill, what Black Phone 2 is all about?
Yeah, please, if you would. Because I'm very curious as how they kind of made a sequel to this film.
Right, because the grabber at the end gets his comeuppance. Spoilers. But I'd imagine you would have seen the first film before watching the second. Is it important to watch the first film before the second? I'd say yes. I think the experience would be a little more challenging if you had not. But we're 4 years later, Matt. Excuse me. The first one took place in 1978. Now it's 1982. The best year in movies, at least for me. And Finney has killed the grabber, and him and Gwen are kind of now, they're grown up. They're 4 years later. And they're going to go check out the Alpine Lake camp because something's going on with that camp. Because remember, Gwen, the younger sister, has these premonitions, these dreams of stuff that's happened, stuff that may happen as well. And what's funny for me is something kind of crystallized for me in this film that I didn't quite get in the first film. This is, again, I don't think this is a criticism of Derrickson or Cargill, more just how dumb I am sometimes. That one of the main points in contention of the first film is that the mother took her own life because she was having these same dreams and visions, and it was really troubling for her. And she really struggled with it, so she couldn't handle that anymore, so she took her own life. Now, that's addressed differently here in this film, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. But it felt almost like a hat on a hat, kind of Blofeld being James Bond's brother type thing. But I didn't connect that Finney was also channeling potentially these powers that his mom had, but in a different way. I thought more it was just the spirits in the basement had haunted this room. And it wasn't so much Finn that was manifesting abilities. It was more just the fact of the physical location that he was in. But I think that either is crystallized or cleared up for a little bit in this film. It's not really the case, is that Finney is also channeling stuff like his mom, but I guess not as severely, right? Because he's haunted by, figuratively, psychologically, by the trauma of the events that took place in the first film. So that the grabber and some other ghosts are able to continue to communicate to him, of course, though still through a phone, which nowadays, be it a landline or a payphone, this film doesn't really work in 2025.
Right.
I don't know if that's part of the impetus of setting it in the past. So they get brought to this, I haven't even started talking about the plot of the film yet. So they go to this Alpine Lake camp, which is a Christian youth camp, where their mother was a counselor at one point, because something bad has happened there now, and they're going to help put these poor kids' souls to rest. And lurking in the background is the grabber, spiritually, supernaturally looking for revenge.
Yeah, that was succinct, not complicated at all. Not complicated at all, Chris. So
I thought you were being serious, that I was doing a good job, but then I realized no, you're being serious.
Yeah, my default state, if you will. So, Chris, I think we thought that Black Phone was good, right? It was entertaining, but we didn't see what the big deal was, what the hype was all about, right? It was fine.
You gave it a C, I gave it a B-.
See, there you go. So, did that film deserve a sequel, Chris? Beyond the fact that it made a lot of money, right? And is this better than the first one?
Yes. I think to take the second question first, yes, I think it is better than the first film. I think the first film, unfortunately, was trapped by the fact that I think Derrickson and Cargill are trying to make a movie set in the late 70s. And I think they work too hard to ground themselves, I think, into that atmosphere, into that time where it feels like that got all the attention. And maybe thinking through perhaps the fact that the dead are speaking to somebody through a phone, which is still something I can't connect with. I don't know why. It just doesn't work for me.
Now, I'll pause. Now, remember, this is actually based off of a short story by Joe Hill, which is Stephen King's son.
Right. That's fine, but they're under no obligation to adapt this into a movie. And I think the building of the aesthetics, again, still, I think the focus was trying to recreate a 70s horror film.
Okay.
Not so much trying to provide us a scary horror film. Because I think, unfortunately, like the first one, I didn't find this one particularly scary either. Mm-hmm. I will say I did enjoy parts of it. I think I appreciate how nasty it is at times. Mm-hmm. It is certainly much gorier than the first film, much more violent, more visceral of an experience when the grabber makes his appearance. So I do think it's an improvement over the original. I think avoiding trying to make a film that's so firmly rooted in its decade, because I outside of like what the cars and the limited technology, I don't think you would know this movie was made in 1982.
Sure.
Or like set in 1982. Right, like Stranger Things, where they're just beating you over the head with the 80s nostalgia, right? No, I really think you could pop this film into almost any decade, independent of, like I said, the technology and the transportation. But I did enjoy this one a little bit more, probably A, because of how brutal it is at times. Sure. B, I also enjoyed having a supernatural ghost-like grabber. Mm-hmm. I think a few weeks before this came out, I'd said that online on Blue Sky, I'm all in for like a Jason Lives zombie brought back to life by lightning or something grabber. Or something. Just go all in. Just go nuts. Because if you're going to make a movie kind of set with the dread and the washed out kind of dreariness of the late 70s, then for the 80s, I want you going all in, right? I want to have that 80s zombie kind of horror film, which we don't get.
Right.
This is still kind of hard-rooted in a world that is just outside of reality with its supernatural bent. I should say, too, another issue I had which I didn't struggle with as much this film because the characters are older. But I did rewatch The Black Phone about 2 weeks ago in anticipation of this. And the thing that really jumped out at me about that first film is how the kids talked.
Mm-hmm.
The kids didn't talk like kids. They talked like adults talking like kids. And that really kind of struck out to me watching that film again. This one is more, I bought into it more because probably just because they're older.
Right.
I don't know,
right.
Matt. I've talked a lot, Matt. I'm going to have a sip of my vanilla cola Zevia and see what you have.
Okay. Yeah, I'd have to agree with Chris. I think overall it's more entertaining, right? It's more of a straight up horror movie in the sense that I like what he said. I really appreciate that it's much more gory, right? It's a lot nastier in a lot of places. I like that it kind of leans into its supernatural elements, like crazy stuff is going on and it's not like anybody can deny what's going on kind of thing. That kind of struck me as giving it a little bit of a Conjuring vibe, which I'm not super on board with, but, compared to the kind of bottle episode movie we got before, I'm, kind of more on board for this. And I will say, I thought the concept of how they describe hell as being cold and ripping away all of your good memories and only leaving the worst parts of you to kind of stew, for eternity. I thought that was a really clever concept. So kudos to whoever came up with that. But I think overall, again, while it's better, it's incrementally better. And I don't think it's not anything that I would say I would recommend without reservation, right? I think it's just a better version of what came before, kind of upping it up, the stakes and the gore and the effects and trying to up the scares more and just making it overall creepier, right? But overall it's pretty effective, but at the same time it's kind of hampered by the kind of fact of its foundational material.
Have you read the original story?
I haven't. I do have the collection, but I haven't read it.
How is Joe Hill, son of Stephen King, who which I appreciate trying not to trade on his father's name. How is he as a writer?
He's good. I would say his work is a little more fantastical. It's not quite as steeped in horror as he is, but I've read Horns. I read Heart-Shaped Box. Those are pretty good, spooky, kind of out there horror novels, and I enjoy his work, although I still think his dad's better.
Yeah, well. Horns, that's the one Netflix adapted with Daniel Radcliffe,
yeah, that's right.
That's an Alexander Asian film, too,
it
isn't
is.
it? I remember we watched that. I can't remember a damn thing about it. But
I remember you not liking it very much, and I don't think I did either.
Yeah, well, there you go. So you talked about The Conjuring. One thing that jumped out to me was, and I'm wondering if you thought about this, is are we bordering dangerously close to basically kind of riffing a little too much on Nightmare on Elm Street, particularly Dream Warriors on this? Because Grabber comes to you when you're dreaming.
Right.
And attacks you, when you're asleep.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I definitely had that thought as I was watching it. It's it's all very Freddy-esque. And to kind of go back to, it's not the first time we've seen it, right? I mean, to go back to Stranger Things, the last season was all a riff on Freddy and all that kind of stuff. So I think he's one of my favorite of the 80s slashers, even though he's, unabashedly supernatural. So I didn't mind it. I mean, it's still got a little bit, but I viewed it more as an homage as opposed to a ripoff.
Fair enough. I think that's good. I did rewatch a while back, about a month or two ago, the 2010, I think it is, Nightmare on Elm Street, the Platinum Dunes reboot. It's not good, man.
It's not.
But I will say, it's not because of Jackie Earl Haley. I actually think he's a very good Freddy.
Yeah, he's a very scary Freddy.
And I liked how they do lean into not just a child murders, but how dark and gruesome. I guess they originally wanted to do that for the first film, but I guess they chickened out a bit. But yeah, I still think it's worth seeing just because of Jackie Earl Haley's interpretation of Freddy. Outside of that, I could probably jettison the rest of the movie.
Fair. Very fair.
So, all right. Do you want to see another Black Phone film, Matt? What about if we actually transition this into a new Conjuring thing? where Finney and Gwen team up to then solve murders and give those ghosts and those souls their final release at from different place to different place.
You know what? As that sounds so stupid that I would actually be on board for that. It sounds just ridiculous to have like a Scooby gang like going out, Mulder and Scully.
Yes, but I want it to be, they should do genre specific stuff or decade, like lean into the 80s, or make it like they wander into a Saw trap type thing where they find all the dead bodies, something like that. Yeah. Where they could just go from horror trope to horror trope and do their own interpretation of it.
They're already expanding the core group. I mean, Ernie's around now, so you got 3. You just got to bring in one more, another woman to kind of round out the group, and we'll be good to go.
I think what it is I'm upset about the failure of the Halloween franchise.
The anthology aspect of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I still love part 3, and I've been watching. I watched part 4 the other day, and I'm in the middle of part 5. I got like 20 minutes left. They're not good, man. Those films are not good. I don't even want to bother in the watch. You know what? I got my Nightmare on Elm Street 4K set. Maybe I'll boot that up for the holiday season, for the Halloween season instead. Well, it is a
holiday. Yeah, you know what? I used to view Halloween as the true start of the holiday season when I was a kid. So, damn it, that's the way I'm going to keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody give me my horror anthology series. Well, we have the VHS, right? Mm-hmm. But I would like a long form. I don't know why they don't do that for Halloween, Matt. You just do a Michael Myers film, 2 anthologies, Michael Myers film, 2 anthologies, Michael. Just do that. Every third film, you can make a Michael Myers film, and then do 2 films in between, where it's some type of different horror. If we can get like American Horror Story, bad things for years and years, I think we can kick out a good Halloween horror film thing. I don't know. Matt, give me a grade for Black Phone 2.
I am going to come up quite a bit from my initial grade. I'm going to give it a B-. That feels right. It feels maybe a little low, but it feels right to me.
I'm staying at a B-, while the first one I was probably at a 81.
Mm-hmm.
I would say this is an 82, 83.
Sure.
So, there you go, folks. Black Phone 2 is currently in theaters. If you'd like to check it out, you certainly can. Oh, let me see it too when the first one's available to stream anywhere. Let's look that up. Look it up, Scotty. Look it up. Peacock.
Okay.
It's on Peacock and Fandango at home if you have with ads, and then if you have Fubo, it's on there as well. So there you go. You can watch the OG there, Matt. Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Feedback at thefirstrun.com. Let us know your thoughts. I bought the Nightmare on Elm Street 4K collection off of Groove with a 20% off, so I got a nice little deal on it. And what I did, though, so here's the set. I did also, when it first came out, I bought the limited steelbook of the original Nightmare on Elm Street because I love the way it looked. It looked like basically like a VHS cover.
Mm-hmm.
All right, which obviously the nostalgia in me, I was so excited about. But now I have it in this set. What do I do? Should I try and sell it? Should I turn it? I was thinking about bringing it to Shelby at Viper Video and trying to get some store credit. I wonder what he could sell that sucker for. He might give me $20 for it, which isn't too bad. I think I paid like $30.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I would do personally. It's the easiest. It's the least amount of money you're going to get, right? But it's the easiest, most hassle-free way. So, is your time worth that? And usually the answer is yes, as long as you're not getting paid like an obscenely low amount, like $3-5, something like that.
So yeah, but I do like it. It looks really cool. But, back in the day, I tried to. This is like 20 years ago. I went to bring a bunch of stuff into Newberry Comics to sell, a bunch of Blu-rays, had some rare stuff too. And I think everything I had there was like all really good stuff, and they're going to give me like $20. Like, yeah, we'll give you $1 for this Blu-ray that we're going to sell for $20.
Right.
And I'm like, I said, you know what? I'm out of here. I packed everything back up and I left. I was insulted. All right. Well, I don't know, Matt. With edits, we might not get it to 20 minutes, so I'm going to tell you quickly. I'll say this. All right. my flight to Connecticut to go see you and my family and friends this past weekend, I watched A Working Man, which is available on Amazon Prime. This is the latest film from David Ayer and Jason Statham, Matt. In this movie, have you seen it?
I haven't.
It is borderline incoherent at times.
Sure.
I think Statham is really starting to show his age as well. And I think you could edit this down to a tight 85. You know, it's like me playing center field in a baseball game. It's a lot. It takes lots of weird routes on the fly balls, and it gets like needlessly complicated.
Sure.
And it tries to be this kind of dumbass version of a taken like Hostile PTSD soldier mashup movie, but it never commits to any of those things.
Sure.
And it's also like, I think the script is horrible. There's a part where I feel like it's like a kid wrote this in high school, or like, wouldn't it be cool to have a motorcycle crash through a French door? Let's do that. And that's what happens in the movie. There's a lot of that there. And there's also a scene where there is so Statham, he works for a construction company. Maybe I should tell you what it's about. And the guys who run it, the couple that runs it, their daughter goes out to party and she gets kidnapped. And she's going to be sold into like sex slavery. So it's taken.
Right.
And it's up to him to find her. Because he was in was he in the Royal Air Force? I can't remember. But he was in, the English or United Kingdom military. But he's left that life behind, Matt. Because he did a lot of horrible things. And they have a thing, too, where like, he'll look at his hand when the violence, he has to do something and it starts to shake, because he's suffering from PTSD. But he's pulled back in to find the daughter. Mm-hmm. So anyway, there's this time where he basically goes undercover, pretends to be like a meth dealer. And he meets another guy who's like the big meth dealer he has to buy product from. But it's just a way for him to kind of worm himself into find the bad guy who stole the daughter. So this guy he's working with is also a former military in the U.S., but he's a bad guy. He deals meth. But they play up this military bond between the two of them, where actually at the end of the film, where this bad guy dies, he actually has like a moment of silence for him and says like something like, "You're now at peace, brother."
Right.
And it's just like, the guy's a meth dealer. Are you hot?
Right.
I mean, look, if I met somebody that I worked at, that also worked at Pizza Hut when he was in high school too, and he was a really good guy, and I found out that he was dealing meth on the side, I wouldn't have a moment of silence for him because we both, were flipping pizzas. Now, granted, I know being in the military is probably a little more intense than that.
Yeah, there might be. Do you wake up in cold sweats thinking about a run of pepperoni orders or something?
Man, let me tell you, when that Bigfoot pizza came to town, that thing was a nightmare.
Yeah.
Lots of sleepless nights. No, I appreciate that, but it just seems like I appreciate the dynamic of people who have served when they've done something similar like that. Clearly, there's a bond there, but at some point, do you think maybe that bond needs to be severed a little bit? Like if you're like killing people and dealing meth to kids,
sure,
maybe you can kind of let that go.
I mean, is he selling women into sex slavery as well?
He works for the guy that's doing it.
I mean,
yeah.
I guess Jason Statham has a line, and it's sex slavery. So, murder. I mean, who in the military hasn't killed somebody that maybe they shouldn't have? And, okay.
Really? Who?
Yeah, I mean, and okay, a little bit of substances to kids. I mean, that's probably stuff that he can overlook, but, sex slavery, that's where he draws the line.
That's right. And there's also, there's a couple of scenes where there's a full moon in the background. We're talking like Wolfman levels of full moon where it takes up like 2/3 of the screen behind him. And they just had the sheer audacity to set up a sequel for the movie as well, potentially, which is just, I don't know, the whole thing, Matt, is just a hollow mess and almost borderline offensive when it comes to the PTSD stuff that he's dealing with. It's really just bad. It's a bad film, Matt. I didn't care for it at all. And I love me Statham. Like, The Beekeeper was bad, but I enjoyed it. This one's just bad.
Yeah.
And he's not even fighting it that much. I think it's because he's getting older, maybe.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it has lots of weird plot lines that, in like red herrings and things that don't really go anywhere, that just feel like they're there to pad out the runtime. It's a mess, folks.
I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, I'm not surprised, but I'm sorry to hear that.
So if I had to give it a grade, I'd give it a D. Sorry about that, my Jason, but that is just not.
It's not it.
It's not a good.
It's not cutting it.
No. So there you go, Matt. So you don't have to worry about popping on your Amazon Prime tonight and watching it.
Thank goodness.
All right. That's good.
Yeah.
26 minutes roughly.
Yeah.
Let's wrap things up, Matt. What's coming up next week on the big show?
All right. Well, it's our big Halloween episode. We're going to give you 2 indie horror films. First, we're going to watch Good Boy. And we'll find out if Chris is a blubbering mess if Good Boy doesn't make it through the entire film, you know. What if he has to make a noble sacrifice for his family, Chris?
Listen, this is available. It's online. You can tell the dog makes it through. It's fine.
Okay.
So that's. But I'm still gonna have an issue with it because if you're purposely scaring a dog, which I don't know if they are, my hope is that they just film stuff and then they added stuff in around him instead. But I will still struggle with it if they're purposely stressing out the dog because that is just not cool either.
Yeah. See, it's what's interesting to me. We're well established that Chris cares more about dogs than people generally, right? Yeah. But also, like, it doesn't extend to any other animals either. Like, you know, I mean, cats, you know, it's sad, but it's not gonna watch it because it's like dog levels.
I'm uncomfortable if any animal is killed in a film. Like, and even like real life, like what's the famous one? The Italian horror film, Cannibal Holocaust. Right? I think when we actually did that for the show, I watched the version of it that does not have the animal killing in it. Sure. I just can't. But just animals in general, I've become hypersensitive to. But dogs, you're right. It's dogs 1. That's the top of the list, and then there's a steep drop, but it's like every other animal.
Then another steep drop. Children.
Yeah, like I will like if a deer is killed in a hunting scene, like in a Rambo movie or something like that, right? I don't dock it a letter grade, but anytime a dog gets killed in a movie, you lose.
Right. I just want to re-level set. Dog up here, steep drop. All other animals, including any other domestic pets. Steep.
Well, no, maybe not steep drop. We'll just say
steep drop.
A slight drop.
Human children. Steep drop. Adults.
I'm not worried about that
Adults.
at all. Yeah. I'll watch Dr. Sleep, twice a week and 3 times on Sunday. Yeah, I don't.
Oh, Chris, you're so delightfully
that Dr.
misanthropic.
Sleep scene, like with kids and stuff. No, that does bother.
Fair
me.
enough.
But it's dogs are innocent, and just hearing the yelping of a dog in a movie is very difficult. Even like with a Superman with Crypto, when he had the techno bot gnat thing, whatever it is, envelop his face and he was struggling. I was like, oh, Crypto.
No, not CG dog. You'll be fight CG alien dog. But anyway, so on that little diversion talking about dogs in films, I might cut all that out, because it's my week to edit. We're going to also finally talk about the latest entry in the VHS anthology series, VHS Halloween. So you get 2 films, both of them horror films. Both of them will be streaming. You're welcome, folks.
Sounds like a fun time.
Hey!
That's a teaser for next week. There you go. In the meantime, you can check us out at thefirstrun.com. Our archives of all the old shows or report cards. There's even a little player there. You hit play, and then all the shows will start playing for you in a row. How awesome is that? I wonder if it's a shuffle option. You can check us out also on Blue Sky. I am there as well as the show. Instagram, Facebook, which I don't think I've done anything on Facebook in years. And YouTube. You can find that as well there. And then head on over to Apple Podcasts. Give us a review to help other people find the show. And that is that. So we're going to go ahead, take an extended break. We love you all very much. As always, please take care of yourselves. And I am waiting for this to fade in a little more because this is a new version of the outro song. I guess I have to adjust that too, Matt. Here we go. All right. We love you all. Take care.